Have you ever made a man cry because of you? Not from heartbreak, not out of sorrow, but from something buried deep in his chest that refuses to let him sleep. He may not even understand what it is. All he knows is that he needs you, and no, it's not what most people think. It isn't about saying something clever or doing something wild behind closed doors. It's deeper than that, more haunting. It's the shift, the instant when you stop being just someone he's fond of and become the woman he can't shake from his thoughts. Think about that. Men get attention all the time. They receive flirtatious comments, heart emojis, admiration, but how often are they truly seen? Here's the gesture. Quiet yet intense, that speaks directly to the part of him he never lets the world see. When you tap into that, you cut right through the armor. And after that, he lies there at night, mind spinning, unable to explain why one single moment keeps playing on repeat. I'm about to share what that gesture is and how to use it without ever appearing like you're trying. But first, imagine this. He's lying in bed, phone in hand, reading your last message again, hoping to understand what just happened. If you want to know how to become unforgettable, the kind of presence that lingers long after you're gone, keep reading. Because once you understand this, you'll never feel the urge to chase him again. Let me ask you something, and if you feel open, you can share below. Have you ever experienced a moment where a man looked at you like you were the only soul he'd ever truly seen? What did that feel like for you? She didn't reach for his hand. She touched a part of him he didn't know was waiting. Sit with that for a second, let it echo, because today we're shifting the script. Have you ever questioned why some women, those who don't have model-like bodies, who aren't constantly posting curated selfies, who aren't jet-setting around the world, are the ones men can't forget? Why she, out of all the others, stays in his thoughts, the one he replays even when surrounded by choices? Listen closely, because it's not about perfect makeup or mastering seductive poses on social media. It's something softer, deeper. It's what Carl Jung might call the energy of raw presence. It's ancient, it's unseen, and once you unlock it, everything transforms. Before we move on, hit that like, tap subscribe, not for me, but for you, because what you're about to uncover isn't just guidance, it's a shift in how you experience love, connection, and your feminine influence. Visualize this, a bustling train station, people moving fast, heads down, phones glowing, noise all around. Then a woman walks in. No flashy outfit, no exaggerated smile, just stillness. His eyes don't search, they perceive. She doesn't beg for attention. She doesn't compete. Yet something in the atmosphere shifts. People look up, the energy thickens. That's not magic. That's emotional gravity. That's a woman anchored in herself, not because she's perfect, but because she's aligned. And men sense that in ways they don't know how to explain. Tell me, have you ever felt like you were doing everything right? You were kind, looked good, replied on time, smiled when it felt right, yet still felt invisible to him? Like there's some barrier you can't identify? Here's the real truth. You're not lacking anything. You've simply been taught the wrong rules. You were encouraged to touch his body, but he gives his heart to the one who stirs his inner world. Because genuine feminine magnetism doesn't demand attention. It creates a field, a quiet space where he feels like he's wandered into a dream he didn't know he was missing. Most women are told to win his gaze, but the ones he remembers forever, they don't chase it. They draw it in, not by exposing more or being louder, but by revealing less while holding deeper meaning. These women speak to something inside of him no one else acknowledges. The part that's tired, the part that hides, the part that silently hopes someone will understand. And those women, they're not forgotten. They're etched into memory. Because a man may share his bed with many, but his essence, His surrender, that belongs to the one who doesn't just touch his skin, but lives in the corners of his thoughts. So if you've ever wondered how to become that woman, the one who lingers in his mind long after the night ends, the one who unconsciously compares others to, the one who stays without trying, stay with me. Because what we're stepping into isn't manipulation. It's not about appearances or strategies. It's about being so rooted in yourself, so naturally alluring, that your silence stirs a storm inside him. This isn't about physical closeness. It's about mental captivation. And once you understand that, you won't have to seek love. It will find its way to you. Let's start here. A man doesn't fall from touch alone. He falls into the tension, the magnetic space between two people. Desire doesn't explode the moment your skin meets his. It's born the moment he realizes he can't reach you yet. That's the detail most people miss. They think seduction is in contact, but real feminine strength breathes in the pause between closeness. Not in the touch, but in the ache before it. Picture a dimly lit stage, music rising, soft lights, two characters inch toward one another, their hands hover, but don't meet. Everyone watching holds their breath, hearts pound. Why? Because it hasn't happened yet. That tension, that uncertainty, that's the fuel, that's the fire. And so many women miss this completely. We were conditioned to jump in, to close the distance, to ask the question, to make it clear, to confirm feelings. We were told love is measured by what he gives, but true connection isn't built on confirmation. It's birth in wonder. Men don't lose themselves in what's handed to them. They unravel when they feel the draw. And the more you seek assurance, the more you initiate contact, try to define it, explain it, name it, the more you smother the tension that attraction needs to breathe. I get it. You want answers. You want to feel safe. You're tired of pretending. You want to know if he's feeling what you feel, so you give more. You push closer. You confuse physical nearness for emotional intimacy. But proximity isn't always connection. Because when you rush into a moment, you strip it of its spark. When you demand clarity, you stifle the unknown. And when you hold too tightly, you interrupt the magic that was already forming until you took over and it dissolved. Carl Jung once said, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. That's exactly what's playing out here. It's not that he didn't feel it. It's that you didn't give him the chance to feel it on his own. Here's a hidden truth. Men don't fall for you because you reached out. They fall because they reached and found you still. There's something deeply irresistible about a woman who doesn't seek validation, who can stay soft in uncertainty, who doesn't flee from silence, who lets the moment expand on its own. Let me be clear. Anyone can press a hand to his chest, but only a rare woman can leave a sensation that echoes long after she's gone. So next time you feel the urge to chase, hold. Let your silence speak. Let your distance call to him. Let him experience the weight of missing you, because without that longing, there is no value. And without value, nothing you give will matter. You don't have to fill every quiet pause. You don't have to reach across every space. Just remain present, tender, assured, and let the energy work its magic. That's where influence is born. So if you've ever believed you were too intense or too quiet, too much or not enough, if you've given everything and walked away empty, listen closely. You don't need to be more physical to be unforgettable. You need to honor the pause, the stillness, the space between words, because real attraction doesn't ignite when he touches you. It begins the moment he wonders if he ever will. And this is just the starting point. Because what follows isn't about distance for the sake of games. It's about emotional depth. When you know how to reach into his inner world without saying anything at all, when you can move something in him just by being across the room, When your absence becomes a presence in his everyday thoughts, he won't just recall you, he'll carry you. Even in silence, even in separation. Stay with me, because where we're headed next, it only gets more powerful from here. Number 2, the mind is truly where genuine intimacy begins. While the body may recall your touch, it's the mind that clings to your enigma. If you're looking to spend just one night in a man's arms, be straightforward. But if you want to live in his mind for weeks, become unforgettable without needing to explain much. Here's something most people overlook. A man's body responds to what he sees, but his mind, that's where the real bond develops, where lasting impressions are born. Not just from physical touch, but from the intrigue, the imagination, the emotional scent you leave behind. Think of it like passing by a bakery and catching a whiff of something warm and inviting, like cinnamon or vanilla. You don't even see the dessert, yet suddenly you're craving it. Why? Because the mind paints the picture. That's the magic of engaging his thoughts rather than just his senses. You don't need to reveal everything, just suggest, tease with subtlety, offer just enough to spark wonder. Instead of saying, I miss you, say, if you were here right now, I'd probably be up to no good. That's cheeky. It's suggestive. It crafts a mental image, a memory, a private scene that loops in his head. While he's commuting, focusing on work, or lying awake at night, he'll catch himself wondering, why can't I stop imagining her? Carl Jung once said, the unconscious doesn't work with facts. It moves in symbols. So lean into that, speak in layers. Say little, but say it with intention. Don't over-explain. Don't rush to end the silence. Let your energy carry, meaning your words never could. When you do this, you're no longer just someone he met. You become a sensation, a memory that clings, a quiet echo that lingers in the most beautiful way. Number 3, stillness speaks with more power than seduction. In a world overflowing with noise, the woman who sits comfortably in silence becomes the loudest voice in his thoughts. That may sound contradictory in today's pace-obsessed culture where everyone is chasing approval, likes, messages, recognition, but there's something magnetic about the woman who doesn't seek to prove herself. Most people think closeness is created by doing more, talking endlessly, laughing louder, showing more. But the truth is, stillness communicates what language never could. Imagine walking into a room buzzing with chatter, filled with people trying to stand out, and then there she is, calmly leaning against a wall, sipping her drink slowly, fully present in her own skin. She's not looking for anyone's attention, but eyes are drawn to her anyway. That's the energy of calm. That's true presence. It doesn't shout to be noticed. It gathers attention without a word. Stillness isn't passivity, it's strength. It says, I'm not here to chase, I'm here to be experienced. When you move with that quiet confidence, you become unforgettable. Jung said your vision becomes clear when you look into your heart. Stillness shows you've already taken that inward journey. You're not seeking to be seen. You're living from a space of inner knowing. And men notice that. They feel when a woman needs to be noticed and when she's already owning her presence. So the next time you feel like talking too soon, filling a gap, or speeding up the moment, take a breath. Let the pause linger. You won't push him away. You'll draw him closer. In that breath of stillness is where the most potent kind of tension rises. Not chaos, but depth. The kind that stays long after the moment passes. Number 4, the power of the almost. Some of the most unforgettable memories are born from what never fully happened. There's a unique kind of magnetism in the almost. The kiss that nearly happened, the truth that was nearly spoken, the hand that almost touched yours. These are the moments that carve themselves into memory because they left him wanting more. And when something isn't finished, the mind obsesses over it. It replays. It expands. The male imagination thrives in that space between what occurred and what might have been. Think about watching a film where the couple leans in, music swells, tension rises, and then the screen fades to black. You're left suspended, breathless, wanting. That's the seduction of the almost. Carl Jung once said, a symbol is always more potent than the thing itself because it touches the unconscious. When you become that symbol, when you resist rushing into closeness and instead let the energy rise, you become a story he replays over and over. The next time you're sharing a charged moment, when he leans in and the air thickens, smile. Lean back ever so slightly and say, well, we really shouldn't, but wow, that was close. And stop there. Don't justify it. Don't continue. You've created an emotional pause, a mystery. Now he's aching for the next page. When you always hand him everything, he loses interest faster. But when you leave a trail of almost, he stays engaged. He keeps reaching. True longing isn't born from having. It grows from anticipation, from not knowing, from the space that begs to be filled. The unfinished has a rare kind of allure because it leaves room for the imagination to burn brighter than reality ever could. Number 5, he doesn't need another echo, he needs inspiration. A man won't remember the woman who merely reflects his own beliefs back to him. He'll remember the one who reveals a deeper version of himself. That's the difference between attraction, that's skin deep, and connection that touches the soul. Too often women attempt to connect by mirroring, agreeing with his thoughts, complimenting his wins, reinforcing his persona. That might charm him briefly. But what happens when his persona begins to crack? When the masks he wears no longer feel natural? That's when a muse steps in, because a mirror can only show him what he already knows, but a muse calls him to rise. She doesn't just cheer him on, she reaches into the fears he rarely shares. She doesn't tear him down, but she stirs something real. Picture a man whose identity is built on power and control. Everyone applauds what they see on the surface, but one evening, he's face to face with a woman who calmly says, I see all the ambition, but I also sense the solitude underneath. That's not accusation, that's awareness. She's not reacting to his mask, she's seeing through it. That's the moment growth begins. Jung once said, the privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are. When you're the woman who doesn't flatter, but evokes, who doesn't follow, but awakens, you become more than just a memory. You become a shift in his inner world. You're not just repeating his past, you're holding up a vision of his future. That kind of reflection stirs him to his core. It's not about your appearance or your performance. It's about your perception, how clearly you see the parts of him he thought no one noticed. And now we step even further into the truth, because before a man can deeply desire you, he must profoundly respect you. Attraction without respect fades fast. But when admiration is present, that's when desire transforms into devotion. Let's be real. There are many women who are wanted, pursued, even obsessed over, yet never truly respected. That's the unspoken reality. Without genuine regard, interest dies quickly. We live in a culture that rewards attention, being noticed, being texted, being desired, but none of those equal being chosen. Desire without respect is thin. It touches the surface, but never roots itself. Respect, however, causes him to pause. It deepens everything. It builds the foundation that desire alone cannot. Because when a man honors you, he listens with intention. He shows up with consistency. He begins to guard the connection rather than simply enjoy it. That's the foundation of something lasting. It's what makes him shed pretense, sit with sincerity, speak with conviction, and what ultimately earns his loyalty. Not by perfection, not by performance, but by standing firm in your value. Carl Jung once said, you are what you do, not what you say you'll do. That truth echoes powerfully here. You don't need to broadcast your standards or explain your boundaries repeatedly. Just embody them. Imagine this. He's used to women who entertain, perform, and mold themselves to fit his world. Then there's you. You don't reply instantly. You don't adjust yourself to his preferences. You don't try to win him. You arrive grounded, whole, self-assured, and that disorients him in the best way because he's not familiar with a woman who doesn't seek his approval. He's met with someone who already knows her worth. Men aren't magnetized by the loudest woman in the room. They're captivated by the one who understands her worth and doesn't feel the urge to outshine his. So if you've ever wondered why he keeps returning to the woman who wasn't the most agreeable or the most stunning or even the gentlest, it's this: she didn't operate from lack. She moved with quiet confidence. Respect always comes before emotional connection. It makes him hesitate before playing games. It lays the foundation where real attraction can deepen instead of burning out too soon. And then there's the kind of expression that doesn't just reach his ears, but sinks into his subconscious. Words that don't just register, they resonate. Use visuals, not just explanations. The heart doesn't respond to lists, it responds to feelings. If you want to leave a lasting impression, don't just use words that make sense. Choose words that move emotion. The deeper layers of the mind, the place where true intimacy develops, don't respond to rationale. They respond to sensation, emotion, memory. That's where most people falter. They aim to be clear. They define, they label. I really like you. I miss you. I want to explore this. Yes, those phrases are honest, but they don't reach the soul. Why? Because they lack imagery. They don't stir the imagination. And the moment you fail to ignite emotion, you fade into the background noise. Carl Jung once said, the psyche is not built of matter, but of meaning. And meaning exists in images, not definitions. So instead of, I miss you, try this. If you were here now, we'd be wrapped up on the couch laughing about something silly, forgetting the rest of the world even existed. Feel the difference? One is a statement. The other is a portal. You're not relaying information. You're gifting him a sensation he hasn't even lived through yet. A moment he can mentally enter like a vivid dream. Imagine messaging him late at night, not with thinking of you, but with, it's one of those nights where your hoodie would be hanging off my shoulders and my feet would be tucked into your lap. Instantly, his mind travels, and suddenly he doesn't just think about you, he feels your presence. That's emotional articulation, that's symbolic closeness. That's how a woman becomes unforgettable. Not by raising her voice, but by speaking from a deeper place within. So avoid over-explaining. Don't try to outline your heart like a checklist. Suggest it, color it in. Let him step inside the space you create. Because when a man feels something through you that he hasn't felt with anyone else, you don't just drift through his mind. You take up residence in his memory and eventually in his heart. Now let's explore the most potent message you send. It's not in your tone or your gaze, it's your essence. Don't aim to leave a mark on his skin. Reach beyond that. Touch the core of who he is, and you become unforgettable. That's the essence of this path. Beyond polished words, quiet smiles, half-spoken phrases, or lingering looks, there's one thing that imprints deeper than all the rest: your energetic signature. You can learn every clever phrase, master your timing, wear the most alluring outfits, say all the perfect things, but if your energy doesn't echo your inner truth, none of it will stick. Words can be copied, appearances shift, but your energy, that's uniquely yours. It speaks volumes louder than what you say. It always reveals the truth.